Akira is an ordinary working adult, creator of the MMORPG Infinity game. 15 years after creating the game, Akira decides to shut the servers down once and for all. However, as the clock strikes midnight, Akira suddenly finds himself summoned into the game as his character, the body of middle-aged demon lord Hakuto Kunai. As he tries to grasp his situation, he encounters an injured girl fleeing from a demon king Grial, which he effortlessly defeats the creature. The girl, Aku, explains they are in the kingdom of holy light, whose people worship the holy church and the angel cherub. Aku tells that she is an orphan cast out by cruel villagers as a sacrifice to Grial. Hakuto is still concerned. After all, he does not remember creating the girl or the demon. Hakuto reasons that someone in the game must have tried to summon a real demon lord, but accidentally summoned him. Doubting whether he truly is in the world of his creation, Hakuto decides to investigate, bringing Aku along as his guide and companion. At a nearby shrine, Hakuto finds the mages who summoned him were already killed by Grial, and the shrine's idol cannot send Hakuto home as this would contradict the wish that summoned him. Instead, it gives Hakuto a magic ring before turning into dust. Hakuto takes Aku back to her village, but upon seeing the villagers abusing her, Hakuto's anger awakens the ring, which offers to kill the villagers. Instead, Hakuto reveals himself as the demon lord, sets the village on fire as revenge, and makes Aku his partner as they head towards the capital. Luna Elegant, one of the 3 holy maidens, seeks out the rumored demon lord to defeat him. Wengol and his bandits, the moles, plan to ambush Luna and increase their reputation. Hakuto plans to find another shrine idol, hoping a similar being to the one that summoned him could send him back home. The next morning, the moles lay in wait for Luna's envoy, but Hakuto and Aku fall into the trap first. Hakuto mistakes Wengol for his boss from the real world, causing them to have a confused conversation. This is interrupted by Luna, who forces the bandits to retreat, while Hakuto realizes he can be injured by Luna's magic. Irritated by her arrogant, childish attitude, Hakuto defeats her soldiers, then punishes her by spanking her repeatedly and stealing her money. Upon reaching the city, Hakuto uses Luna's money to rent a room at an inn and buys Aku food and new clothes, noticing Aku's heterochromia. Later they go dining together, and overwhelmed by his kindness, Aku asks Hakuto if there was any way she can repay him. But an embarrassed and furious Luna catches up to them and demands the return of her money, but is forced to calmly join them for dinner when threatened with a second spanking. She later insists on sharing their room since it was paid for with her gold. Elsewhere, a second holy maiden approaches the city with her soldiers. Hakuto asks Luna about the cherub and learns it died after sealing away Grial, but the remaining 2 angels, Ophan and Seraph, are still alive. Luna's older sister, Holy Maiden Killer Queen, arrives in her war chariot with the intent to drag Luna home. Hakuto comes up with a plan to make money by selling worthless crafted items to an antiques dealer. Luna and Queen arguing while an army of Satanists, believing they failed to summon the demon lord, planned to kill both holy maidens using a miasma sludge sealed in a box called Hades. Luna claims she tamed the demon lord, though Queen doubts that a demon lord exists. The cult then attacks, and Hakuto realizes the cultists wear the same robes as the ones who summoned him. As the cultists unleash Hades to weaken Luna and Queen, Hakuto's ring tempts him to murder the maidens, but Hakuto refuses. The ring paralyzes him, forcing him to swap into another of his Infinity Game avatars, Zero Kirasama, at the cost of Zero controlling himself. Zero defeats the cultists, and Queen instantly falls in love with him after he treats her like a woman instead of a warrior, and decides to make him her husband. Zero leaves and turns back into Hakuto, who is mortified at ever having created such an embarrassing character. Luna decides to continue traveling with Hakuto and Aku. While elsewhere, 2 bounty hunters debate whether to accept a job hunting the demon lord, but decide on a bounty on killing sand wolves instead. While traveling aboard Luna's carriage, Hakuto disguises Luna as a schoolgirl so she won't draw attention. The 2 bounty hunters, sword woman Mikan and cross-dressing mage Yukikaze, are in the area hunting sand wolves for their bounty, but the pack is too large and they flee. Hakuto, who happened to be nearby, defeats the wolves for skill points, then leaves.
あれが噂の魔王か。おじさま渋い。お尻が熱くなった。あれは危険な存在よ。確かに危険。私の低層まで貫かれそう。だが男だ。
Hakuto notices Aku's leg has healed badly, causing her to limp. He uses his skill points to summon one of his NPC aides, Yukarino, a doctor and scientist, who despite being a genius, has an unfortunate sadistic streak and a fetish for young boys. Despite the possibility of Kirino going rogue, Hakuto summons her anyway and finds that in this new world, Kirino is still loyal but has her own free will. Hakuto decides to keep a close eye on her, forbids her from killing anyone, and discloses his situation. Using her unique skill Hand of God, Kirino fixes Aku's leg in no time, but is scolded by Hakuto when she asks Aku to dress like a boy. While testing her leg, Aku suggests she has fallen in love with Hakuto because of his kindness. Hakuto thanks Kirino for her help, and his praise causes the now self-aware Kirino to experience happiness and develop a crush on him. Later, as Aku sleeps, she gains a rare magical survival skill called Heroine. Due to defeating the Sand Wolves so easily, Mikan and Yukikaze are amazed by Hakuto. Though Mikan is irritated they lost the bounty. Meanwhile, Utopia, founder of the Satanist cult, after learning a demon lord killed Grial, decides to please Hades by offering all the capital's citizens as sacrifices. Hakuto and the others visit Luna's province, specifically Rabbi village, which is extremely run down as Luna has been letting the Holy Church manage it for her. Hakuto suspects the church purposely assigned her the least valuable territory to keep her out of the way. He decides to improve the village by adding a hospital and hot spring. He removes the useless church manager and learns the village is populated by demi-humans called bunnies, who the church considers less important. The bunnies are struggling to farm the poor quality soil, so Hakuto uses skill points to provide an unlimited source of water and better fertilizer. Elsewhere, Luna's oldest sister, Holy Maiden Angel White, discussions about the potential danger Hakuto presents. Dona, the head noble, is determined to punish Hakuto to please his fellow noble, while the head soldier, martial arts, prefers to wait and see what kind of man Hakuto is for himself. Killer Queen barges in, still hopelessly obsessed with Zero, leaving Angel worried about her sister's state of mind. At the Noma Tavern, the S-rank adventurers Mink and Organ debate about the existence of a dragonkin fighting for justice before being given a poster of the demon lord, while Mikan and Yukikaze overhear their talk. Meanwhile, Hakuto, Luna, and Kirino hold a feast for Aku at the high-class restaurant Artemis in the kingdom's capital to celebrate her leg being healed. They are joined by Ebifree Butterfly, a central figure of nobility in the kingdom, who Luna explains through Hakuto's telepathic messaging as a powerful social figure with many connections through the kingdom. Hakuto decides to attempt to gain her trust, and as he negotiates with her and tells about his improvements to be done at Luna's Rabbi village, the surrounding area comes under synchronized attacks by the Satanist cult. Hakuto tells his party to remain calm and stay in the restaurant while he takes care of the trouble. Mikan and Yukikaze are in the midst of the fighting, but Hakuto comes to their aid and disposes the Satanists, who summon a mid-tier demon called Carnival. Hakuto easily defeats Carnival, and the people cheers for him, recognizing him from posters as the Demon Lord. While the previous fighting was happening, Carmia, an assassin disguised as a clown calming down the nobles, approaches Hakuto's party with the intent to poison them, but Kirino scares him away with a magic trick that involves amputating his arms. In another part of the capital, Killer Queen, Mount Fuji, and martial arts clear out a horde of undead, and Mink defeats another group of Satanists, while healing church members. The surviving cultists regroup and summon a demon Prince Orut as their last resort, who annihilates every combatant and destroys Angel White's holy barrier. Tron is ordered by Utopia prior to the battle to fly, then dump the Hades miasma onto the combatants, and she does so while Mink and Queen try to hold their ground against Orut. Hakuto swaps to Zero Kirisama at the last minute and effortlessly defeats Orut, but not before Orut mortally wounds Tron and drains her blood to transform himself into a bestial entity. Zero revives Tron from death and upon being told she forgot how to smile, encourages her to do so despite her situation. Zero defeats Orut once more and strikes a victory pose, to the amazement of Tron and the excitement of Killer Queen. Hakuto discusses with Angel White where he could obtain more information about Seraph, while Angel tries to determine whether if he is still a legitimate threat to the kingdom and church. Both parties end the conversation on seemingly peacefully terms, though Angel was hiding her stress, worrying what Hakuto's end goal is and wondering how he was able to tame the selfish Luna and defeat Grial so easily, whom Hakuto called more like a cheap imitation than a demon king. Hakuto finds he has collected enough skill points to summon a second NPC into the world and unlock the ability to teleport to familiar locations. He and Aku visit the church library to read up on the angel that allegedly created the world, but also to find ways to give himself resistance to magic, which did not exist in the futuristic setting of Infinity Game. A story he reads to Aku about a dog finding rare treasures in a dungeon gives Hakuto the idea of such a possibility. On their way back, Tron finds Hakuto and identifies him with Zero, insisting on traveling with him for saving her life. The group teleports back to Rabbi Village, and Hakuto instantly constructs a hospital and hot springs resort, noting they are somehow still able to operate without a source of electricity, with the intent of employing the residents. He summons his aide Asami Tahara for his fast learning capabilities and marksmanship skills to protect Rabbi Village. Asami Tahara is summoned by Hakuto late at night and immediately shocked by the strange environment surrounding him. Asami is taken into the resort and briefed on the situation, and he is frightened when told Kirino is also with them. Asami is tasked with training the residents of the village and keeping it maintained, to which he thinks is too much work, but Hakuto reassures he has the intelligence for it. When he pats Asami's arm, Asami receives a shock, but declines seeking Kirino for help. Kirino, Tron, Luna, and Aku greet Asami, while Hakuto spends the night thinking how to prepare for Ebifree's arrival. Hakuto returns to the capital and sells a music box to Nandan Manon, the antiques dealer he visited before, for 15 gold coins. He then visits Bingo, the tailor whom he bought Aku's clothes from, and requests the making of 20 tuxedos and bunny suits. After establishing a food delivery route to Rabbi Village, Hakuto retreats back to the inn for the night. Hakuto swaps to Zero Kirasama for a while, and ponders on the time he used to play as him. 1 week later, Ebifree arrives at the renewed Rabbi Village. She brings with him Commando Sambo, and Hakuto recommends Kirino to cure his blindness, who uses eye drops. Sambo is overjoyed, and Ebifree pays Kirino with a Holy Lambda coin worth 100 gold coins. A flashback from 10 years prior to the show's events shows a 6-year-old Luna with a friend called Eagle rushing to a noble's mansion to buy bread. They are shunned away by the nobles, and Luna retaliates by swearing she'll grow up to be a holy maiden, and they'll get their punishment. 2 years later, her training at the church begins, at the cost of Eagle being executed for being a demi-human. She officially became a holy maiden at the age of 10 years, and was assigned her province, which included Rabbi Village. Seeing a young Kion and Momo reminded Luna of Eagle, so she prayed to Cherub for strength. At this point, Luna's reminiscence is interrupted by Hakuto and Ebifree approaching the hot springs. Luna takes Ebifree inside. Her enthusiasm has Ebifree deduce Luna's crush on Hakuto, which she embarrassingly rejects. Ebifree ultimately decides to live in Rabbi Village. Meanwhile, Angel learns of Ebifree's holiday in Rabbi Village, thinking Hakuto has manipulated her too, but Killer Queen has no concern, saying Luna and her have found love. Angel has not. Asami and Kirino converse while working on a map of the village's future development. Asami noting that Kirino's personality has changed and that he refuses to doubt to Ebifree's influence. Later, Hakuto receives a checkup from Kirino which devolves into Kirino fondling his body, so Hakuto abruptly leaves. That evening, everyone feasts, and Tron goes to the bath, hoping to see Zero, but Hakuto carries her back to the women's side. After bathing, Aku goes to sleep with Hakuto, who is later joined by Luna making her own excuses to sleep with him. Hakuto leaves the village to explore the capital again, leaving a letter behind for Luna and Aku telling them to not look for him. Yukikaze and Mikan encounter him there, and Yukikaze insists on inviting Hakuto to his favorite tavern Noma Noma, where everyone treats Hakuto to food and drink out of gratitude for defeating Carnival. Disturbed by Yukikaze's perverted behavior, Hakuto states he is unfamiliar with the land's customs and adventurer system. Yukikaze and Mikan tell Hakuto about the guild accepting requests and receiving fees, having monster parts sold, ranking, other guilds competing for the attention of high-rank adventurers, and mercenary work. Hakuto compares this business to professional sports and notes the relative instability of the occupation. Yukikaze also mentions the current state of wartime makes traveling across the northern territories will be difficult. Item classification is also elaborated: normal, solid, high-end, unique, legendary, and ineffective mass-produced items. Hakuto decides to travel north, and Yukikaze volunteers, Hakuto reasoning his need for an experienced guide. At the church, Angel White's anxiety reaches a tipping point. She uses her Omega staff to teleport to Luna to rescue her, but becomes confused at the sight of Rabbi Village undergoing construction. Asami spots Angel, mistaking her for a magician hired for help, and tasks her with moving a supply of magic crystals. Angel eventually meets Luna, and is confused by Luna's unwillingness to leave. Angel is even more concerned at the sight of Tron, and is forced by Luna to let Kion and Momo escort her to the baths. Believing it's her last chance to rescue Luna from Hakuto's influence, she explores the baths, and is surprised to find someone waiting for her. Angel finds Hakuto at the end of the baths, and reluctantly joins him at his insistence. Greatly embarrassed by the situation and flustered at the sight of Hakuto, Angel attempts to interrogate him over his intentions for deceiving Luna and Ebifree. Hakuto forcing Angel to bathe and drink sake to calm her down. As the two talk, Angel becomes frustrated and breaks down over being called hard-headed, innocent, and ultimately admitting she is incompetent in managing the kingdom well on her own. Hakuto gifts her an angel halo in a final effort to reassure her before leaving, noting she is the only holy maiden able to reflect her title. After the bath, Hakuto uses his teleport skill, and the two reappear back at the capital's castle, which Angel mistakes as the same miracle power she used to go to Rabbi village. Further compounding this confusion, Hakuto confessed to Angel that the reason he wants to learn about Seraph is because he believes that Offvenom summoned him to this world, thinking back to the shrine idol. All of Angel's misunderstandings come together to confirm Hakuto's identity as Lucifer. As Hakuto takes his leave, a smitten angel promises to guide Hakuto back to what he once was. The next day, Hakuto leaves Asami and Kurino to the village's care as he departs to the northern city of Rookie with Yukikaze and Mikan. Upon arrival, they are greeted by a group of heroes led by an overweight young man in suspiciously modern clothing, and Hakuto is repulsed by the sight. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe.